In just one expedition, a team of U.S. shark hunters can pull in 40 massive specimens and turn that into $900, 0 inches profit. It sounds unbelievable, but behind each catch lies danger, exhaustion, and a brutal fight between man and nature. These are not ordinary fishermen. They face storms, blood, and the deep unknown, all for a prize that fuels America's seafood and pharmaceutical industries. Along the coasts of Florida and the Gulf of Mexico, shark hunting isn't just a job, it's survival. In these waters, where hurricanes can rise overnight, American crews risk everything to bring back what others wouldn't dare touch. The U.S. shark industry contributes tens of millions of dollars annually to exports and domestic demand, feeding both local economies and global luxury markets. For small coastal towns like Key West or Corpus Christi, every successful expedition means new paychecks, filled fuel tanks, and food on the table. The hunt begins long before dawn. At 3:45 a.m., the deck lights blaze on a 70-foot commercial vessel docked off Key West, Florida. Diesel engines rumble awake. Salt spray clings to the air as 6 men pull on their heavy rubber gear, gloves stiff with dried salt and old scars. Every hand knows its place. Captain on the bridge, deck boss near the bait table, 2 linemen threading hooks, and the youngest crew member loading ice blocks into the hold. Before the vessel ever leaves port, every piece of gear is checked. The crew lays out longlines, stretching over 20 nautical miles, armed with nearly 200 stainless steel hooks, baited with mackerel and skipjack tuna. The hooks are sharpened to surgical precision, tied with braided wire, strong enough to lift a motorcycle. GPS coordinates are entered based on last week's migration data. Warmer surface currents between the Florida Straits and the Gulf Stream. These routes are known hunting highways for mako, bull, and tiger sharks, following shoals of baitfish. By 5 a.m., the boat pushes through the marina, leaving a wake glowing under sodium lights. The ocean ahead is black and infinite. Once the first streaks of dawn touch the horizon, sonar screens flicker with motion. The captain watches for mid-depth, flashes the signature arcs that indicate large predators. They drift until the water temperature stabilizes around 78 degrees Fahrenheit, the ideal thermocline for shark movement. Seabirds hover above, and small tuna break the surface, a good omen. The captain shouts, "Drop the line!" With a rhythm practiced over decades, the crew begins to set the line. Each baited hook is clipped to the main line at 50-foot intervals. Orange buoys mark every 100 yards. It takes nearly 3 hours to set all the hooks, a dangerous dance of coordination as the boat moves steadily at 2 knots. If a hook catches a hand or boot lace, there's no saving the limb. Everyone on deck stays alert, no talking, just the thrum of engines and the whistle of wind. Once the last buoy is released, the crew waits. The long line drifts silently below, a trap laid in the vast gulf. An hour later, one of the buoys jerks violently, then another. The captain throttles down. "We've got one." Reeling begins slowly, then with force, The winch groans as the line tightens like a drawn bow. 50 yards out, the water erupts. A mako shark breaches, twisting midair, sunlight glinting off its silver skin. The crew braces. If the shark dives under the hull, the line could snap or drag the gear overboard. Using long-handled gaffs, the crew steadies the shark's head while the winch lifts its body clear of the water. Every move is calculated. A misplaced foot on the wet deck can be deadly. Once hoisted aboard, the shark is weighed and identified immediately. A tag confirms it's a legal, mature specimen under NOAA's commercial quota. The process repeats buoy by buoy. Each retrieval takes patience. Some hooks come up empty. Others hold rays, swordfish, or damaged lines. Out of every 100 hooks, the crew might see 3 strikes. That's success in shark hunting. By midday, they've pulled in over a dozen specimens, the deck streaked with seawater and blood. Every haul tests muscle and nerve. The youngest deckhand's hands tremble from rope burn. The captain wipes sweat mixed with salt from his brow. Yet the adrenaline keeps them sharp. Every new shark could be the difference between profit and loss. By late afternoon, dark clouds gather. The Gulf is unpredictable. Waves rise to 6 feet, rolling the vessel sideways. Lines must still be pulled. The crew ties themselves to the railings for safety. When the wind howls and rain pelts like needles, they keep working, voices barely audible over the roar. This is where human will meets nature's fury. For them, quitting isn't an option. As night falls, the final lines are retrieved. The deck lights glow orange against a bruised sky. 40 sharks lie iced in storage. The goal met. The boat heads home, engines humming steady. Hull heavy with fortune and fatigue. They've earned roughly $900, 0 inches gross value, yet every man aboard knows it could have gone the other way. One storm, una mistake, one missed buoy, and the sea would take everything back. As the Atlantic Spirit slows its engine and the morning sun glows over the waves, the crew's work doesn't stop with the catch. Once the sharks are hoisted onto the deck, the real precision begins. The sorting process, where science, law, and respect for the ocean come together. Every shark must be measured, identified, and logged within minutes of being landed. The crew uses stainless steel calipers and digital scales to record each specimen's length, weight, and species data required by the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, NOAA. Each measurement determines whether the shark can be legally kept or must be released back into the sea. First, the species identification. The Atlantic waters host a variety of sharks: shortfin mako, sandbar, hammerhead, blacktip, and thresher. Some, like the sandbar shark, are protected under the Highly Migratory Species Management Plan and cannot be retained unless the vessel holds a special research permit. Others, such as the shortfin mako, are only allowed within strict seasonal quotas, and every fish counts. Next, the size and maturity check. U.S. regulations require that only adult sharks above certain lengths are kept, usually over 71 inches, 180 centimeters. For makos, for example, undersized individuals must be released alive and unharmed. Crew members are trained to spot the subtle signs of youth: a more flexible tail fin, smoother skin texture, and lighter gill coloration. These small cues determine whether a fish is worth thousands of dollars or must go back to the deep. Then comes the gender sorting. Female sharks, especially those carrying eggs or showing signs of pregnancy, are treated with utmost caution. Under U.S. federal law, it's illegal to retain egg-bearing females. If a female mako shows a swollen belly or darkened flanks, signs of reproduction, the captain immediately orders release. The deckhands carefully slide her back into the ocean using a hydraulic lift cradle, ensuring minimal stress. Moments later, her powerful tail beats once and disappears into the blue, a silent commitment to sustainability. Each legal shark is then tagged and documented. A small barcoded NOAA tag is inserted near the dorsal fin, linking it to the vessel's digital logbook. This tag verifies its origin and ensures the product can be traced from sea to market, a crucial feature of America's traceable seafood system. Inspectors at port can later scan the tag and know precisely where, when, and by whom the shark was caught. In contrast to many parts of the world where finning, the cruel practice of removing fins and dumping the carcass, is still a problem, the United States banned shark finning in 2000 under the Shark Finning Prohibition Act and strengthened it in 2010 with the Shark Conservation Act. This law mandates that every shark landed in U.S. waters must arrive with fins naturally attached, ensuring full utilization and preventing waste. Back on deck, the crew separates the catch into three primary categories: keep, fully legal, tagged, and logged sharks destined for processing. Release, undersized or reproductive individuals returned alive to the sea. Bycatch, none. Target species such as swordfish or rays, released immediately. A NOAA-certified observer or electronic monitoring camera often records the process to ensure full compliance. Violations can mean massive fines or permanent license suspension, something no captain dares risk. The men take pride in following the rules. They see themselves not as hunters, but as stewards of the ocean. By the end of sorting, only around 40 sharks remain on deck, the legal limit for this voyage. Yet each one is a hard-earned symbol of responsibility. For the crew, these regulations aren't just red tape, they're the reason the fishery survives. The older fishermen know that without limits, the ocean would soon fall silent. By midday, the Atlantic Spirit rides heavy on the water, its hold filled with a carefully measured bounty: 40 fully documented sharks, each tagged, chilled, and logged for federal traceability. What looks like a modest number to the untrained eye is, in truth, the product of one of the most tightly controlled and high-value fisheries in the world. Each specimen averages 350 to 500 pounds, meaning this expedition brings in around 15 000 to 18,000 pounds of shark in total, but the value isn't in bulk. It's in composition. Sharks are uniquely profitable because almost every part of the body can be used or sold for a different industry. The fins, meat, skin, cartilage, and liver oil each have their own market together, forming an intricate web of global demand. The deck crew begins the preliminary breakdown right on the ship. The fins dorsal, pectoral, and caudal are trimmed carefully, labeled with matching tags, and stored under aerated cold air at 45 degrees Fahrenheit to preserve their collagen structure. These fins will later fetch as much as $1, $500 to $2, $500 per kilogram in international trade, once dried and graded from just one large mako shark. A set of fins can be worth $20, $000 to $25, ling ling ling, depending on market quality and species rarity. Next comes the meat, the most substantial component by weight. Shark meat, once undervalued, is now a premium product in American and Asian markets. When properly handled, mako and blacktip shark fillets have a mild flavor and firm texture, making them popular in luxury restaurants. Each carcass yields between 150 and 250 pounds of marketable meat, sold at wholesale prices between $6 and $10 per pound. That means a single shark can bring in $1, $500 to $2, 500 inches meat value alone. The skin is peeled and stored separately, destined for the exotic leather market. It's tanned and processed into high-end goods such as wallets, belts, and watch straps. A square meter of shark leather can retail for over $600, prized for its durability and unique grain. The cartilage, carefully extracted from the head and spine, feeds into the booming nutraceutical industry. Used in supplements, believed to support joint health, ground into fine powder, and packaged under medical-grade conditions. It can sell for $200 per kilogram in export contracts. Then there's the liver oil, rich in squalene, a substance used in pharmaceuticals, cosmetics, and vaccines. One mature shark can produce up to 3 gallons of oil, generating an additional $1, $0.002, 0 inches refined value. When all components are tallied, this single trip's total 40 sharks generates nearly $900, 0 inches gross output. Around 60% of that comes from fins, 30% from meat and byproducts, and the rest from specialized derivatives. It's not just a catch, it's a microeconomy floating on the waves. Comparatively, the United States lands fewer sharks than global heavyweights like China, Indonesia, or Spain, but each American-caught shark is logged, traced, and monetized with a higher return per specimen. U.S. fleets focus on value over volume, an approach that aligns with modern conservation and sustainability standards. In global rankings, America's shark output may represent just 3% of world volume, but its regulated export value rivals larger nations due to strict handling and quality standards. For example, a Florida processed mako steak commands higher prices than an unregulated catch from Southeast Asia because it carries the mark of NOAA certified sustainability. The crew understands this balance. They know they could catch more if laws allowed, but that restraint is what ensures they can return next year and the year after. As Captain Ross often says, the ocean pays best when you take only what it's willing to give. By evening, the ship's cold holds hum quietly, maintaining the 41 degrees Fahrenheit preservation temperature that keeps the meat pristine for unloading. The men wash the decks, exhausted but proud. They've not only met their quota, but maintained the integrity of a trade older than their fathers, one that balances the fine line between profit and preservation. At port, when the offloading begins, the scale of their work becomes clear. Forklifts move pallet after pallet of gleaming silver-gray carcasses toward processing facilities. Inspectors scan NOAA tags, confirming legality and data. In one day, this crew's output will ripple through restaurants, labs, and industries across 3 continents. When the Atlantic Spirit docks at Key West Harbor, the roar of the winches fades into the rhythmic sound of forklifts and ice machines. What began as salt, sweat, and danger on open water now turns into numbers, invoices, contracts, and export declarations. This is where survival at sea becomes part of the American economy. A single voyage like this, 40 legal sharks totaling about $900. No inch gross value. Doesn't translate to instant fortune. The shark fishery operates like a small, moving corporation. Every dollar divided among the many hands and systems that make it possible. The captain takes home the largest cut, around 20–25% of the net profit for managing navigation, compliance, and risk. The rest is shared among deckhands, engineers, and fishmasters, typically 5–10% each, depending on experience. A full-time deckhand who completes 5 to 6 expeditions per season can earn $40, $60, $000 annually. A solid living in coastal towns where job options are limited. For many of them, fishing isn't just work, it's inheritance, pride, and identity. Fuel alone consumes a massive portion, over $30, $000 per trip for a 65-foot longline vessel. Ice, bait, maintenance, and NOAA licensing fees can add another $20. $25. Ling ling ling. Insurance and safety equipment, from satellite beacons to medical kits, cost thousands more each year. By the time the crew is paid and the ship's expenses are met, the net profit per voyage often lands around $250. $300. Ling ling ling, which is reinvested into gear, repairs, and off-season dock fees. The razor-thin balance between cost and reward is what defines this trade. A single storm, a broken hydraulic line, or an engine failure can erase weeks of profit. Yet, despite these risks, fishermen return to sea driven by the one thing every port shares: hope. The financial reach of one expedition extends far beyond the crew. Each catch fuels an entire economic ecosystem. At the port, processing companies employ butchers, packers, and quality inspectors. Cold storage facilities hire technicians to maintain refrigeration lines. Logistics firms move containers to airports and seaports bound for Hong Kong, Seoul, and Tokyo. Even local fuel suppliers, ice plants, and mechanics depend on these fleets for steady income. In Florida alone, shark fishing supports over 200 direct and indirect jobs, from deckhands to export brokers, across the U.S. The broader shark industry, including processing, pharmaceuticals, and byproducts, contributes hundreds of millions of dollars annually to the economy. Shark cartilage and squalene derivatives are used in everything from vaccines to cosmetics, expanding the fisheries value chain far beyond seafood markets. According to NOAA data, the U.S. exports thousands of metric tons of shark products each year to more than 20 countries. In 2024 alone, American shark exports were valued at nearly $40 million, with top buyers in Japan, China, and South Korea. But what sets the U.S. apart is not volume, it's traceability and premium pricing. A single NOAA-tagged mako fin, or processed shark steak, can command double the market price of an unregulated foreign equivalent. That premium creates a competitive advantage for American fishermen. Buyers know exactly where the product came from, which species it is, and that it was caught under humane, sustainable conditions. This reputation, built through decades of conservation laws, turns American fisheries into trusted brands in global commerce, a quiet but powerful form of soft economic strength. Beyond the numbers, shark hunting holds deep cultural and regional meaning. In small coastal communities from Destin to the Carolinas, entire families depend on this seasonal rhythm. Ship chandlers, welders, baie supplier, and dockside cafes all thrive when the boats return home. When the Atlantic spirit unloads its catch, the local market comes alive, a pulse of activity that keeps towns breathing. Fishermen often invest back into their communities, sponsoring local schools, funding harbor repairs, and supporting marine research programs that ensure their grandchildren will still have fish to catch. For them, success isn't measured by bank accounts, but by how long the sea continues to give. Zooming out, the shark industry symbolizes the paradox of modern sustainability, a bridge between human livelihood and marine conservation. It proves that economic growth and environmental respect can coexist when guided by science and regulation. Every voyage tells a broader story of the American maritime economy, one built on courage, accountability, and innovation. From the Gulf's shrimp fleets to Alaska's salmon runs, these sectors collectively fuel billions in exports, feeding global markets while preserving local heritage. When night falls and the Atlantic Spirit rests quietly against the dock, its crew heads home with tired bodies and calloused hands. They've risked their lives for something that, to most people, is just a luxury dish, yet their labor fuels an entire chain of value, pride, and purpose that reaches far beyond the horizon. From sharks in Florida to shrimp in Louisiana and salmon in Alaska, American fishermen share one mission: to harvest the ocean's wealth responsibly. Each industry, though vastly different, follows the same rhythm: preparation, risk, precision, and pride. Whether it's steel traps in the Gulf or drift nets in the North Pacific, these sectors feed not only the nation, but also global demand, turning the sweat of small crews into billion-dollar exports. In the end, this isn't just a story about sharks. It's a story about American willpower against nature's fury. Every wave carries a choice: comfort or courage, luxury or labor. These 40 sharks may symbolize fortune, but for the men who caught them, it's not wealth that drives them. It's the call of the sea, the pride of a trade passed down for generations, and the quiet satisfaction of providing for a nation. Would you choose modern technology or traditional methods to secure America's seafood future? Share your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and support those who keep our oceans alive.